Hey, welcome back to another episode of Krish Marketing, powered by Kind Lending. This is episode, I think, 5 today. And we have an incredible guest, someone I got to meet in person just a few weeks ago. I'm going to pause real quick because I forgot to turn off Teams. Sorry. This actually never happens. How do I
I'm
turn
glad you said something. I turned it off too because I had that happen on a podcast a few weeks ago and I felt so bad. It was like ping, ping, ping.
Yeah, people don't stop pinging me.
Yeah.
And I should just be able to turn it off, right?
Yeah.
Or
I think that should work.
do not disturb, but people can still message you. Sign
I
out.
just exited. Yeah.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. On the count of 3, 2, and 1. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Krish Marketing Podcast powered by Kind Lending. This is episode 5. Thank you so much for joining all of our real estate agents, mortgage brokers, mortgage loan officers, and anyone that really cares about amazing sales marketing. Thank you for joining. So today we have one of my favorites, Katie Kahler from American Solutions for Business. And Katie and I got to meet just a few weeks ago. Let me give you a little bit about Katie. So she's an account executive again at American Solutions for Business. She is she calls herself or the marketing specialist, the branded apparel specialist. Knows everything you can think of about promotional products, commercial print, and even e-commerce solutions. So that's a lot of skills and knowledge that you have there, Katie. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for the intro. Thanks so much for having me, Krish. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. And I've been in marketing since I was in diapers. So about 15 years now. I'm just kidding. But promotional items, they in our world, in the mortgage world especially, we have a lot of vernaculars that we use around promo, right? Someone will email marketing one day and say, hey, I need some swag, right? Or swag, or promos, or promotional items, or stuff, or things. My favorite, and I had never heard of this until about maybe 10 years into marketing, was tchotchke. And just even when I was writing the questions that we sent over to you, Katie, I had to Google how to spell it because I couldn't remember if it was a silent T or silent C or what. So while it has a lot of names, Katie, it's all the same kind of stuff that most companies, no matter what industry you're in, offers. Now you have the unique pleasure of working with not just mortgage companies, right, but a lot of different industries. And so tell us a little bit about what you do, what American Solutions for Business is.
Sure. Krish, it's so funny that you mentioned all the different names because one that you forgot that we've actually really been seeing trending over the past few years is merch.
Oh,
So
merch.
that's become so popular. Like especially, during COVID, like there was so much unique social selling, pop-up stores, online branding, social media. I mean, even Taylor Swift calls it merch in her online store.
She does. Merch.
So it's just fun to see, all of that shift over time. Similar, I've been involved in this industry since I was in diapers because my dad has been in it since he was in college. So really cool. I have a marketing background, retail background, have actually been working with American for just about 4 years now. But really how I describe what I do is, companies work with me really as an extension of their marketing team for everything with merchandise production and distribution. So I mentioned I have a diverse background and really a passion for people and meaningful campaigns that turns into custom kits, company-wide brand stores, all of these fun things that you're mentioning here. So really what we try to do is help to streamline a merchandise strategy so
Mhm.
that your brand is consistent, especially if you have multiple locations. We really
Mhm.
try to make it a collaborative experience tailored to your brand, your team, and your customer.
I love that. So I've worked with some small shops in the past, and we recently, not even a few months ago, launched an employee e-commerce kind of site for or store for our kind ambassadors. And I've done this a number of times, and obviously I'm biased because you're here, and I can't talk smack about you in person. I'm just kidding. I would never, but I've never worked with an organization that is able to, or branding merch store or whatever, that can set up so easily, so quickly, and have taken so much of the thought process out of our team, having to kind of navigate all this stuff and like creative brainstorms. It's been so refreshing with a brand like Kind, right? A lot of the folks that are listening would agree, and maybe they work for us is why they agree. But um, anyone that's come across our brand understands that we want to be fun. We want to be outrageously amazing and different. And you've really helped us do that. Now, just a few weeks ago, we had this awesome Vibe 2023 event in Costa Mesa, and Katie was there, and they were one of our sponsors. And I didn't know what they were bringing to this event. Okay. And Katie, like I already got the, what was it, the Air Force Ones, the
Yep.
kind lending Air Force Ones. So, but I wasn't wearing them, and she was kind of disappointed, but she was wearing them. And they had Hey Dudes and Jordans, but the stuff that you had on that table, we did not expect to be there, right? And that's the level of just genius that you and your team have. Is you had bubble gum, you had remote control cars, you had beach hats and swim trunks, and I mean, it was just what? Like, where did you come up with that stuff? Like, did you just sit around? Like, okay, but you know what? It matched our energy, and that was what was really cool. That was really cool.
And I think
So,
what has been really fun, working with your team as an example is, you're really willing to loop us into that creative project, share some of your, not just like your basic brand guides, but some of your
mhm.
designs that you've created over the years. That gave us a chance to really sort of understand who you were and run with it. So to me, that is the most fun part because every organization is different, or your customers are different. You have different needs. But I get to work with merchandise all day. It's a pretty fun part of the job. And it's fun when we really have the chance to be creative like that, and sort of have that collaborative experience. We can take, we have 650 reps across the country. So we can take what's really working well on a broad perspective, but then tailor it down so that it really matches who you are.
That's so cool. I've never, and that's the thing, right? Like, I never really put that much thought into everyone else's process, right? As a marketer and leading a marketing team, I think about us and what we're doing. But the fact that you are in marketing, you're helping marketers market better and sales teams obviously better, but then you're also then building personas around those clients, and so you can like really dig deep into what's in their heads and what they're thinking. I love that because not a lot of partners or vendors, partners, there's a lot of names for that as well, right? um, put that level of thought into what they're going to be producing, so I love that. Now, I know you've created some really cool, fun, amazing, I'm going to call it merch. No, you know what? I'm going to call it tchotchkes for the remainder of this conversation, right? So you've produced a lot of amazing tchotchkes over the years. But I have to know, and if you've been since you were in diapers, what is the craziest and most creative promotional item you or your team, whether it's here at this company or at a previous organization, has ever come up with?
Sure. So I have a couple thoughts here. These are the
Yeah.
questions that get me excited. I want to share one that I've seen that I thought was
Okay.
really interesting, and a couple that we have done just to
All right.
sort of talk about a few different concepts. So when I first was thinking about this question, I immediately thought of Aldi's. Do you shop at Aldi's?
My wife does, yes.
Okay. I don't. There's not one in my neighborhood. I've always thought about it as my grandma's grocery store, right?
Hmm.
Like she lives in rural Illinois. That's always where she shopped. But they came out with a streetwear campaign this year, and it was so cool. It didn't just have a logo on it, it
Hmm.
was using their colors. It was super on trend, colorful, timely. It really became an extension of their brand. And it resonated really well with their customers. Again, this is not the old Aldi's I thought of. This is the
Yeah.
cool, new, trendy Aldi's. Everything was under $10. The keychains they use, they actually had them where you put a coin inside, so you can always have your quarter for getting your grocery cart.
Oh,
So I
wow.
just like it was so thoughtful. They took their customers' lifestyle and needs. So that was just one that stood out to me. I'm like, I wouldn't have expected that. And of course they sold out
Oh, yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
You can then get them on eBay for $100 later that week. So it was pretty cool to see that. A couple other ones I was thinking of, we have a customer where they're actually in the entertainment space.
Hmm.
And there was a cap in a movie that had like cow horns on it. And we actually were
Hmm.
able to replicate the concept and turn it into a real product that people could buy and wear. So that one was super fun, super unique, like something you could never dream up until you're working on it. And then a recent project we just worked on that was one of my favorites was actually a co-branded kit for a drive-in movie event.
Hmm.
So we had two different brands we were working with. So we had to take into account the brands, the theme, the movies they were showing, the distribution of the boxes. Actually, each box was like this big, had 25 different items in there, some with multiples. We had to really consider, a car could have 4 people or 6 people in it, and kids and adult. Like, how do we meet everybody's needs with the goodies that are inside? And then even how we laid it out inside the kit, we really tried to take into account like before, during, and after the movie to create this whole experience that it could tie into.
I love it. I love it. There's something unique, and the drive-in movie theater just gave me an idea. I was like, why are our salespeople not doing drive-in theaters as customer appreciation events and things like that? But
Right?
you know,
Nostalgia is a big deal. It's fun.
there's I've seen some things that are terrible, right? So, would you agree that like the hand sanitizer thing in 2024 is probably not the coolest promotional item, right? Or sorry,
Hey, we lived it, we
tchotchke.
needed it, and we're happy it's
It
not
was
here
it
anymore.
was yeah, exactly. But there was but that was hot then. And one of the things as a marketer and having salespeople needing those things, whether it's for these small events or just something to drop by, pop by, things like that, is remember the fidget spinners, we remember the face mask and the all the pop sockets. And
Yeah.
I think for a little bit it was as a lot of states went handless phones in the cars, it was the phone carriers and things like that. But again, I've worked with some big and small and everyone in between tchotchke companies over the years, and one of the inabilities I've always come across is keeping up with the trends. And you send out an email, or account executives at ASB send out emails and say, hey, this is what's hot, this is what's not. We get these quarterly boxes by branded, and it's really refreshing as a partner to receive those. Now, this isn't the podcast promoting ASB, but it is. I just wanted to highlight those pieces, right? It's really nice to have those things. Now, our audience, realtors, mortgage brokers, and mortgage professionals across, any salesperson really, are all itching to know how to start. Okay, but more importantly is why start. One of our first episodes on this podcast was with a young lady named Brittany Hodak, and she talked about customer experience, a lot of customer experience, and that wow experience. I imagine Aldi gave that customer experience, and you can extend it by not spending buku bucks, right? giving gift cards and all this stuff. You could truly do it with branding yourself or personal branding, something small, a trinket that extends that experience. Now, she also on LinkedIn, Katie, just shared we're in the holiday season, right? And the holiday gift guide, right? And customer experience driven. But I wanted to ask you is what are the hottest, and I'm putting you on the spot here because you probably have a laundry list, the hottest tchotchkes this year, right? Going into 2024 on the holiday season. You can list 3, 5, 10, whatever you feel comfortable with coming up off this without any preparation. That you can say, hey, you know what? These items will create some super fans for you.
Okay, well, I have one sitting on my desk, of
All right,
course.
let's
That
go.
is the hottest item. We probably all recognize the original brand of this. And there's so many versions of it now
Mhm.
at different price points, different quantities, different colors. Some have different, maybe better uh, features. Like this one does not spill when you knock it over, which I've spilled a Stanley before. So this is definitely like the hot item that is hard to get. And now there's a lot of great options out there. So this has been
Mhm.
extremely, extremely popular for the holiday season. The other thing that I think is just really hot right now, this became super popular over the past couple of years and really hasn't gone away, is food gifting.
Hmm.
Excuse me, and sort of this concept of pairing food, like even like a small craft food in your town with a merchandise item,
Yeah.
is I'm going to give away the holiday gift that I'm sending out, but it's going to include a mug and a hot chocolate bomb because it's that experience. You're going to enjoy it right
Mhm.
away, but then you also have that item that you're going to keep and hold on to, hopefully, and remember us by. So, definitely, that's another one that I think continues to be really popular. You mentioned like the gum that we did. This is not
Mhm.
an expensive item. But it ties into the next thing that I would say is really popular, trending, important, and important to me is don't just put a logo on it, right? Like I could have just put a logo on this. It could have said ASB, it could have said kind lending, but no, we came up with a catchy phrase. We tied it in with the event. We had messaging on the back. So when you're sort of creating this, experience, I think
Mhm.
just really continues to be a trend and really ties into what Brittany was saying about super fans and having it's not just about the product. Obviously, that's
Mhm.
important and that's, the delivery, but it's also about the messaging, the graphics, the art, how you can make it, like you talked about at the beginning of the podcast, really fun and something people are going to be excited about.
That's awesome. I had my marketing mentor, if you will, who actually brought me into the mortgage business. He used to tell us that it's not just one item, right? And you're going to play the cost game and all that stuff, but it needs to be paired with something and pick packing and all of those things. And so, if you're sending a closing gift, and in our industry, both mortgage, real estate, closing gifts are a thing, right? And you have to stay within compliance and within a price range or a dollar range. But it's if you're sending the book, why did you send the bookmark, right? If you sent the bookmark in the book, why didn't it have a handwritten note? If it had the handwritten note in the book and the bookmark, why didn't it come in nice packaging? And so it all has to be complementary, and that's what really I last few homes I've purchased, I'm still on their drip campaigns and I love it. Like I get the coolest things. I got this. I told my realtor I lost my wallet, right? And so every year, she sends me a new Apple Tag type of thing that I can put into my wallet every year
See, and
because
that's
you
the
can't charge
thoughtful
it,
human touch. Yeah,
right?
that is
Like
very
every
cool.
year, I'm expecting it, and like it used to be where, and the evolution of it's crazy, right? Because it used to be those little calendars, magnets that you stick on your fridge, And now it's like Apple Tag type of things for your wallet. Like,
Mhm.
come on, how amazing is that? I don't need anything else throughout the year except my wallet. I just don't want to lose my wallet again. My wife would kill me. Um,
And to
yeah,
your
because
point, even, when you think about the campaign as a whole, it's not just the merchandise, but is it the follow-up phone call? Is it the TV advertising? Is it the email campaign? It's really just one tool in a whole integrated marketing campaign.
yeah, it's and so, but when I mentioned my mentor, it was how do you drive business? That's what it's all about, right? It's ROI. And I'm sure you're a big fan of Friends. Rest in
Of
peace,
course.
Chandler, right?
Yes.
But Monica, do you remember how she was a neat freak? And she had that one little closet, and it was just stuffed, full of stuff. So when I got in the mortgage business, we used to go around to a lot of our branches, and you'd open the door, and stuff would just fall out, right? All of this stuff, with golf balls and golf tees and T-shirts, and I mean, it was like so. When the regional managers would go around to these branches, there's a where's the closet? Where yeah, I know you got a closet. Where is it? Because a lot of organizations used to just order, send, and they wouldn't use it, right? Like I've been at Kind Lending almost 2 years, a year and some months, whatever, and I've used about 10 of my 100 business cards that I ordered. You know, we do
Yeah.
things and we just keep ordering it, but we just don't know how to activate it. So what my former CMO, my mentor would say is like, is it going to drive revenue?
Mhm.
Okay? What we don't want to order is these Pro V1 golf balls, and you go out and hit them on a driving range and think that someone's going to pick them up. And
No.
most of them went into the woods, right? And they're like $4 balls. Um, but how could that golf ball been activated? And so, and I know I can go on and on, but how have you seen promotional items drive real business, real leads for real estate agents and mortgage professionals specifically?
Sure. I think that one of the things you mentioned earlier is a leave behind. And I
Hmm.
think that is one of the most powerful promotional items in your industry,
Hmm.
because there is the human interaction. You are working with referral partners, you are working with customers and facing them, but something that they is either useful or fun or will make them laugh that
Hmm.
they're going to hold on to and think of you. And often those items aren't expensive either, right? And the traditional leave behind is a business card or a notepad. I mean, those haven't gone away, and that could be part of it. But we see all the time now, like the pack of gum or the mug filled with treats or the jar opener with your favorite jam, or a desk phone holder, something they're going
Hmm.
to use or think of with your contact information or your name on it. I think that is still one of the most powerful items that we see for driving true ROI that we can really measure.
Yeah, and the misconception of having to spend a lot of money to do it,
Mhm.
right? At this point, I'd say if anyone's listening to this audience, to this podcast, they're already awesome salespeople because they listen to our podcast, right? So they automatically get like creds. But um, there's a lot of folks that don't do it and haven't started or start or in these roles prior to like that guerrilla style marketing that we all kind of grew up with, right? If they're younger or if they've just never done it and they're trying to try something new and don't want to spend a lot of money, what are a couple of small things that people ought to order to get started, right? Like what should you have in your arsenal? I'm a realtor going to a networking event or a mortgage loan officer going to a networking event. And what is something I should have other than my business card and stuff in my pocket and in my bag and start handing out?
Sure. I have 5 ideas for this. I'm going to go through them quick, and I'm going to tell you why and some ideas for each one.
Okay.
The first is apparel, and then pens, the leave behind item we talked about, and then a thank you or a closing gift, and then some sort of signage or banner. So those are sort of the 5 categories. Starting with apparel, one of my personal favorites, of course, I've got mine on here, is apparel actually makes up 3 of the 5 top promo categories in our industry. So, it's a great way to show your personal style. So, whether you're giving away like a t-shirt or a hoodie, if fun, casual, think like concert, walk, event, or you have your polo or your top that's branded for sort of that professional networking event or being on video or calls, whatever the case is, or you can show off your style. I mean, we mentioned shoes. I had to, show off the shoes that I wear to events, but these are great conversation starters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jumping into the next category, pens. This is like what most people think of when they think of tchotchke, brand emerge, promotional products. It could be a basic pen. You mentioned like the fidget spinner. There's lots of fun things with pens, but it's really, I mean, there's a reason people think of it first. It's a tried and true classic. It's something that people use. The next are those leave behinds. Like, what are you going to remember? What are they going to remember you by? You can, I've gone to plenty of networking events and I've handed someone a business card or I've had them tap my digital business card. But most often I get that call back when it is that pack of gum or something like that that has my contact information on it, a microfiber cloth, whatever the case is, something that they're like,
Mm-hmm.
put this in my purse and actually pull it out, the lip
Mm-hmm.
balm, I'm going to be using it for weeks after and still be thinking about that event or that person or whatever the case is. So those are kind of like the top 3. I think really like, the next level would be a thank you or a closing gift. So that could be, for when you close a deal or for a referral partner, something like a custom kit, a desk plant, glassware. These items are really more about messaging over branding. It doesn't even have to have your logo, or you could personalize it. Could be a little bit more subtle. I tease what our Christmas gifts are. They have a really fun design and then they have a smaller ASB to them, right? It's more about like a thank you for working with us, sort of this fun holiday cheer message that we're trying to get across. So definitely recommend going that direction. And then really that last piece for, especially when we're talking about events, is a signage or a banner. Like it could be a pop-up tent or a table cover or a banner for, sponsoring your local, little league team or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
case is. But really think about what events you're attending and how you want to be involved in your community, because there is a really important community aspect to this business.
Yep, I agree. To the pen piece, I had a guy. I was in real estate for a while, in marketing, and there was a realtor in our office who had all of these pens of like all these people would stop by, but he only used to use like a set of them. The other ones he just had over there, and I'm like, why? He goes, because they're blue and the other ones are all black. And in our business, we only use blue to sign on the dotted line. So why would I use the black ones? Because I use the black ones to give to my kids so they can scribble. And so it's being thoughtful and knowing what works and what doesn't. I think there's a lot of flexibility that had to happen that was forced into how we interact through promotional tchotchkes during COVID, right? Like there was just a lot of different people weren't in the office, and how much more waste is this by sending everyone a whatever to their desks, you know?
Right, if you're gonna
Um,
do it right, and that's where we saw, like, the
exactly.
elevated gifting as
Mhm.
opposed to just, stuff.
Yeah, I was, and event marketing is important. Whether you're sponsoring a hole at a golf tournament, and we want to be well branded through apparel and feather flag or whatever, making sure you have those items. But I was at a conference. I go to a lot of conferences, as you do as well, and one of my craziest experience always is what I mean. I love people watching all the folks that get the canvas bags and fill that sucker up, and then they have to go upstairs and stuff it into their luggage onto the carry-on, or most of it just gets thrown away in the hotel trash can.
Call
Versus
that
going
trick or treating in our industry.
trick or treating. I love it. I'm going to start using that tchotchke treating. Um, and then I was at an event in Nashville about a couple of years ago with another partner of ours, and it was in Nashville. And they're famous for the Nash hat, Nash brand, right? And so they went and got these Nash hats and branded their logo on it. My wife wears it all the time. She is promoting a CRM.
Right. And it's tied to the event. It's,
This
yeah.
one, I got it from you guys actually, and I have a white desk, so it's a pretty leather, very manly for me, and put my mug on it. I've got a phone holder, so I've got like a slew of things up here. I just realized they're all promotion items. These are one of ours. Coaster. I'm a coaster guy, so
Okay,
these are from an event that we did called Kind Social 3 years ago. But so anyway, promotional items are a thing. People love them. But a lot of folks don't know where to start. They're afraid of spending the money. But knowing what, kind of, I guess, cutting through all the noise and being able to like kind of laser focus on the things that drive business. So I appreciate that list. We will include the list in the description. For anyone that wants to connect with Katie, American Solutions for Business, we'll also include her contact information. She's on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
At 480 promo.
At 480 promo. I follow her, so I feel like you all should as well. Really cool stuff. Again, it's not just sending a calendar magnet after you close, or it's not just about printing ordering 1,000 pens and just handing them out to everyone, but it's being unique. I've got to give you one that I did years and years ago. Before I got into mortgage, I worked for a small boutique real estate brokerage in Atlanta, and we used to be a sponsor at it's a Grant Park whatever event. It was like a carnival I don't know what it is. Festival. It's a festival every year. And the company was called Red Robin Realtors. And now they're no longer, I think they're a team now. But we used to print stick-on tattoos with our brand. And it was a legit, so the brand was a Red Robin. And we made these little Red Robin like heart tattoos. And we branded every single kid that would walk by. And the parents loved it, right? Kids loved it even more. But it was something that maybe didn't have any direct ROI, but people were, this is the virality of it. People were tagging us and posting pictures of us. It's like, well, they were the only sponsor that had like their own company branded tattoos.
Right? People were talking about it, which is what you want. We joke, but it's true. This is the one form of advertising where people say thank you for it.
Yeah. It's very. We had the balloons, and we couldn't stop the kids from sucking up the helium, but that's a whole nother story. But wait, anyway, listen, Katie, I know you're busy supplying the country, maybe even the world over, with incredible tchotchkes, aka merch, the more popular term. But thank you so much for joining. We loved having you on. We look forward to having you on again at some point, and we appreciate your partnership as well.
Right back at you. Thank you for having me, and we really appreciate working with you and your team. It's a lot of fun.